Hello everyone, welcome to a new episode of Horizon Zero Dawn with Aloy.
You're the one the Vanguard has been crowing about. The Nora who tracks criminals and traitors with her second sight. If only you'd use it to help me. A thief raided my home and took my brother's sword.
Tell me about the robbery. Don't leave anything out.
It was brazen and professional. They took only the sword, my most valuable possession. The thief went out through the window and scared the shadow off my steward. Otherwise, it would have been a clean getaway.
Why would someone steal the sword?
It's priceless. Made from the burnished antler of a lancehorn, finely inlaid with studded stones all down the...
Okay, I get it.
Forgive me. That's not even why it's important. The 12th Sun King gave it to my brother for his military service. He was killed in battle during the liberation. I was saving it for my nephew who's stranded at Sunfall with the Karja in shadow.
How did your nephew wind up in Sunfall?
Most of the old clergy backed the Mad Sun King, so when he fell, they ran out of fear of retribution. As an honor guard to a venerable priest, my nephew had no choice but to go with them. Now that my brother is gone, my nephew is my heir, so that sword really belongs to him. And after all he's been through, I won't be able to look him in the face if I don't get it back.
I'll see what I can do about the robbery.
Have a word with my steward if you need to. He saw the thief escape. And listen, all I want is the sword back. Meridian, and my family for that matter, has seen enough strife already. If I can get it back, all is forgiven.
Okay.
You need to win 3 half-suns at our hunting grounds to gain admittance to the lodge.
Let me in.
Very well then. Congratulations and welcome. Our members reap rewards and adventure and live on in legend.
Am I a member now?
No, you're only a fledgling. Junior members are called thrushes. To join and become a thrush, you need a senior member called a hawk to sponsor you.
So I need to find a hawk.
Yes, but a hawk can only sponsor 1 hunter at a time. And I'm afraid most of them already have one.
I've overcome worse odds. Where do I start?
Upstairs, present yourself to the Sunhawk Assis, our leader, who should introduce you to a hawk. I hope it's worth it.
What do you mean?
You'll see.
Okay. Bylaws of the Hunter's Lodge. Section 1, Preamble. 1.1 The hunt is the noblest pursuit in the Sundom. Is this right? Save those of the Sun King and the Sun Priests. The hunt is strength. The hunt is honor. The hunt protects. The hunt preserves. 1.2 What is the hunt but competition? What is competition without rank, honor, and victor? 1.3 The lodge lends law and lore to the hunt, so all will know who has prevailed. 1.4 Thus the lodge is not just its members and not just its house in Meridian. It is the spirit of the hunt, a code to be honored and an ideal to be lived. 1.5 Only those of the noblest blood can embody the noblest ideals. As such, only Karja males of pure blood may honor the lodge and tread in its house. What the fuck? By order of His Radiance Avad, 14th Sun King of the Karja, Bylaw 5 of Section 1 is hereby rescinded. Section 2, Membership. 2.1 No hunter shall gain admittance to the lodge without 3 half-suns, 1 with honor at any hunting ground. See Section 5 below. 2.2 There are 2 classes of member, Hawk being senior, Thrush being junior. 2.3 The rank of Thrush can only be gained through the sponsorship of a Hawk. Each Hawk may sponsor only 1 Thrush. 2.4 There can be only 7 Hawks. A Thrush can only become a Hawk through the death of his sponsor. Okay. The hawk who hunts the greatest prey shall become Sun Hawk and lead the lodge. In the event the quality of prey is in dispute, the hawk who hunted first shall remain first as Sun Hawk. Only Karja males of pure blood may become thrush, hawk, or sunhawk. So I'm neither Karja and I'm not a male, so there's no way I can become a thrush then. Why did the guy tell me to go? Anyways, I don't understand. By order of His Radiance Avad, 14th Sun King of the Karja, Bylaw 7 of Section 2 is hereby rescinded. Section 3, Proof of the Hunt. The greatest... You know what? Fuck the numbers. The greatest hunts often bear no witness. Therefore, a trophy must be kept. A trophy may be submitted to the Sunhawk as proof of a victorious hunt. A trophy must be intact, undamaged, and from a recent hunt. The Sunhawk shall have final authority in any dispute over a trophy's worth. Only Karja males of pure blood may submit a trophy to the Sunhawk. This is fucking ridiculous. By order of His Radiance Avad, 14th Sun King of the Karja, Bylaw 5 of Section 3 is thereby rescinded. To protect and preserve. A hunt for its own sake is noble. A hunt in the service of others is blessed by the sun. When called upon, hawks and thrushes must undertake any reasonable hunt asked of them, if it serves to protect the citizens of the Sundom. The Sunhawk has sole authority to negotiate any fees or bounties associated with any hunt undertaken by members of the Lodge on behalf of the Sundom. Any profit from any hunt undertaken by members of the Lodge on behalf of the Sundom shall be shared by all 7 hawks, administered by the Sunhawk. Only Karja males of pure blood may undertake a hunt in the name of the Lodge, be it for the protection of the Sundom or any other reason. By order of His Radiance Avad, 14th Sun King of the Karja, Bylaw 5 of Section 4 is hereby rescinded. Hunting Grounds. For the purpose of training and recruiting the best and greatest hunters, the Lodge shall provide and maintain hunting grounds. Each hunting ground shall test a different range of skills through 3 trials crafted by its keeper, in consultation with Sunhawk. There shall be 3 rewards for each trial, in ascending order of performance. Fuck. Half Sun, Full Sun, Blazing Sun. Hunters who prove themselves by winning the requisite number of suns may be entitled to special gear at the Lodge. At the discretion of the Sunhawk, the Lodge shall provide funds for the construction and maintenance of all trials and facilities and hunting grounds. The Lodge shall receive all profits associated with the sale of parts, ammunition, and equipment from all hunting grounds. Any profits received from hunting grounds shall be shared by all 7 hawks, administered by the Sunhawk. Keepers shall be chosen exclusively by the Sunhawk and serve for a term of 7 years. Goodness me. Only Karja males of pure blood may be appointed keeper. By order of His Radiance Avad, 14th Sun King of the Karja, Bylaw 9 of Section 5 is hereby rescinded. Man, that was a lot to read.
Just don't know where.
What up?
By the sun! King Avad's edict really is taking effect. Never thought I'd see a Nora here, and a woman at that. So, you have marks for me?
What do you mean?
From the hunting grounds. Oh, right, you're new here.
What edict?
King Avad insisted that the Hunter's Lodge had to welcome everyone. Man, woman, outlander, regard men, and delivered that news personally. You should have been there. It was glorious. But I figured they would sweep it under the rug and say no woman or outlander qualified. Yet here you are.
Okay.
Are you a member?
Me? No. Karja don't exactly encourage their daughters to run around hunting machines. But all the changes in Meridian have been good to me. I don't think the Oseram know how to sell to us Karja. The trader I worked for last couldn't sell flowers to a bee. He was too plain hammered, as they like to say. This is a much better job. I figure I'll be able to open my own shop soon enough.
Okay.
What do you want with my marks?
You hunters and your badges. I'm not gonna take them. I'm going to give you a weapon that sets you apart.
Let's go.
Yeah, I thought that'd get your attention. If you earn marks in all 3 trials at each of the 5 hunting grounds, come to me. I can give you up to 3 weapons, 1 for 15 half-suns, 1 for 15 full suns, and 1 you'll love for all blazing suns.
Okay.
What do I do with these marks?
If you get the same mark from all the hunting ground trials, I can give you a Hunter's Lodge weapon. Show me what marks you've earned, and we'll see if you qualify for one of these special weapons I have for you.
I'm a little short on marks.
No problem. Once you have marks from all 15 trials, you'll be able to get the next Hunter's Lodge weapon from me.
Yeah. Oh, this is for the platinum that I need to do. What up?
Excuse us. The machine rider graces us with her presence. You're a Nora, are you not? A fighter from the savage lands.
The sacred land, but yes. I fought for everything I got.
Tell me, do the Nora often wander into other people's homes and do whatever they like?
Of course not.
But that is what you're doing, right now. Stinking up our lodge, pestering your betters.
You're hardly my better. Legan said I had to meet you to become a member.
That would be true if there were any chance of you becoming a member. But you're a savage, and no sass of the Hunter's Lodge, while I am the Sun Hawk. Now be gone.
No. I was led to believe there are rules here. If they count for nothing, then even your position is meaningless. So quit blustering and tell me. Is there a Hawk who is free to sponsor me?
Very well. Talana is free. Wouldn't that be fitting? Trash sponsoring trash. Now get out of my sight.
God damn it, I lost my ring. Hold on. I would fucking kill you.
They dress a bit too fancy. Please made a place in the sundown for the Oseram.
Record of Redmaw. Whew. The Record of Redmaw. By inquiring Jen Diniman, historian in residence at the Hunter's Lodge. It is well known that facts recede into fictions as they become memories, and fresh facts themselves are among the rumors and legends of the South. This is especially true in the case of Redmaw, that most terrible of Thunderjaws, a machine which is nothing if not legendary. Few who have laid eyes upon it have survived, and among them even fewer can be trusted not to embellish their tales. All that said, here I have endeavored to truthfully chronicle all the calamities attributed to the beast, and all the expeditions meant to end such calamities once and for all. None have succeeded, as the South still roams free, scarred perhaps, but deadly as the day the sun first shone upon its armored hide. In the early spring of the 18th year of the reign of the Sun King Duran, a freehold was destroyed near the hands of the flood. 9 bodies were recovered, 8 riddled with cannon rounds, 1 flattened completely. No witnesses survived. Though never proven, this is widely thought to be Redmaw's first attack. In the late spring of the 18th year of the region of the Sun King Duran, an expedition of 4 hunters set out from Sunstone Rock to track the machine or machines responsible for the destruction of the freehold. None returned. Their bodies were subsequently found the south, 3 blasted, 1 stomped. Never proven, but thought to be Redmaw's work. In the early summer of the 18th year of the reign of the Sun King Duran, an expedition of 6 mercenaries set out from Meridian to track the machine or machines responsible for the losses described above. 1 returned, ribs crushed, clavicle fractured. He spoke of a Thunderjaw who split a man in half with a single bite. This is the first confirmed sighting of the legendary machine, and the one which gave it a name. In the late summer of the 18th year of the reign of the Sun King Duran, an expedition of 8 set off from Meridian to track Redmaw. None returned. 6 bodies were found near Blackwing's Nag. 1 blasted, 3 stomped, 2 eviscerated, 1 swallowed his own tongue, evidently in a spasm of terror, suffocating. Ooh. In the autumn of the 18th year of his reign, the Sun King Duran commanded the Hunter's Lodge to send an expedition south in pursuit of Redmaw. After numerous logical delays, 3 hawks and their thrushes set out in winter. Only 1 pair returned, reporting the deaths of the others. 2 blasted, 1 stomped, 1 decapitated. The survivors were sacrificed for cowardice. one gutted by a sawtooth, the other skewered by kestrels. After this setback, members of the lodge grew wary of pursuing the legendary Thunderjaw. Only the proudest hawks even considered it. Aspirants to the lodge, however, foolish in their ambition, eagerly took part in subsequent hunts. In the summer of the 19th year of the reign of the Sun King Jiran, the destruction of a caravan south of the Spurflints, 3 blasted, 2 stomped, 1 immolated, reignited interest in Redmaw. 3 expeditions totaling 15 mercenaries went after the machine, with only 3 survivors, 9 blasted, 3 stomped, 2 eviscerated, 1 liquefied. Oh goodness me. Man, after this I need to take a nap. In the early spring of the 20th year of the reign of the Sun King Jiran, a cohort of 12 soldiers added from the Ravingathers to the elite were set upon by the beast. Only 1 survived, 1 blasted, 1 stomped, 10 crushed when their fleeing footsteps triggered an avalanche. In the late spring of the 20th year of the reign of the Sun King Jiran, 3 cohorts totaling 34 men went in search of Redmaw. Alas, they were ambushed by stalkers and only 4 survived, 24 sniped, 6 exploded. Understandably, this ended pursuit of Redmaw for some time. In the summer of the first year of the reign of the Sun King Avad, a group of 6 Uzaram traders were attacked by the beast. 1 blasted, 3 stomped, 1 spit into a ravine. The lone survivor petitioned Captain Ursa to send the vanguard after the monster, but the request was denied. However, 3 additional expeditions comprised of mercenaries and hunters aspiring to the lodge were subsequently commissioned. Autumn, 7 men, 2 blasted, 3 stomped, 1 tripped on his own spear, 1 survivor. Winter, 9 men, 3 blasted, 2 stomped, 2 died from frostbite, 2 survivors. Spring, 11 men, 5 blasted, 1 stomped, 3 retreated off a cliff, 2 survivors. Like, these jokes were, oh, they tripped, oh, they was spit into a ravine, like, this has to be jokes for, kind of like joke rewards for whoever's, you know, taking the time to read this, you know? That's what it feels to me.
Wish the Oseram would invent.
Hey!
Here, Talana? Assis said you were a hawk without a fledgling to sponsor. Or are you trying to drive today? What happened today?
One of our own just died fighting Redmaw. You'll never face a more dangerous Thunderjaw. Cuts through trees, rocks, people.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's part of the hunt.
Let's do it!
Assis, what's his story?
He's the Sunhawk of the Lodge. The highest ranking asshole. Sorry, member. He's taken down Ravagers, Stalkers, Behemoths.
So, I've taken down a lot of machines.
As have I. Even brought down 2 Stormbirds. But he's a hawk who brought in the trophies first. And that's how it works. Whichever hawk defeats the greatest machine first becomes the Sunhawk.
Okay.
How does one become a hawk?
When a hawk dies, his thrush is promoted in his place, no matter how anyone feels about it.
Is there any actual hunting in this lodge? So far, it's been all talk.
Yes, of course. You fight a machine, then bring its trophy to Assis the Sunhawk, then no one can deny you brought it down.
How does one become
Oh god.
Who is
Here.
this Legan, the man at the door?
Legan? He's a hawk. He had an impressive run in his day, but he doesn't fight anymore. He supports the lodge in other ways. Unlike the other hawks, who hoard all the best kills and drink the bar dry.
I'm ready to hunt, so tell me, what do I have to do?
You want the...
So if I do that, you'll sponsor me.
I'll consider it. Just to make Assis spoil.
Under King Jiran, I feared for my life, the life of my family. Under Avad, I fear we may lose.
Okay. You're a priest. Look like it.
Ronora, I'm the mournful Naman. My apologies that we meet like this.
Like this.
In grief, you hold yours close, like a talisman. Wait, forgive me. You didn't come for reparations? Someone you lost to the Sun Ring?
No. I know about the Red Raids, but the Carja owe me nothing.
I see. Well, I could use the help of a strong-willed outlander. Then I would owe you very much indeed. These people seek to honor their loved, their lost, with their own voices, not mouthing Carja rituals to Carja stone. But there are obstacles. And while Meridian holds its breath for any disturbance, these robes only tie my hands. There's an Oseram who seeks to visit the Shrine of Kings on the road to the city. He waits there now, forbidden to enter by an old sun priest who suffer no heathen. This Utaru lost her companion on the edge of the jewel, at a pool where snap moths gather. The shrine was built there to ward off the machines, and its effectiveness leaves much to be desired. And the Manuk would paint a mark on the sun's climb, a call to the machine spirits, I understand. They need no beckoning. Glint hawks perch there, drawn to the spires shining.
So, clear the machines out of 2 shrines and move a priest out of the other.
All I can ask for is your charity and that their stories are heard.
Naman, rituals and prayers can't bring back those who are lost.
No, but it can help those who grieve to find themselves. It can lend them strength and hope, like a new sunrise.
I didn't think your priesthood would ask outsiders for help.
If only the sun would set on our pride. Until this is done, I am no sun priest. To wear a red robe was an aspiration. I aspired. Now our hoods make us blind. We whisper reconciliation, but forget how the old king's priests sang the words and blessed the killing.
The killing? You mean the Red Raids?
Yes. And the sacrifices that came after.
Why did the priests go along with all that bloodshed?
Sometimes we Carja are more concerned.
Pointed with the Sun Priests, but you still wanted to be one?
I spent my whole life looking up to the temple. My brother's voice echoing in its arches. Even he couldn't turn me away, and how he tried. In the end, he said, when we were loved, our robes were dyed in cinnabar. Now they are stained in blood.
How so?
Our robes are handed down to us. Most of the old priests fled rather than be seen in the glare of a new sun. And so we are left to wear their sins. For me, at least, they hang heavy.
Where is your brother now?
He waits for me on the trail of the sun, I hope. He spoke out against the sacrifices. For a priest to question the Sun King's will, his punishment was worst of all.
You lost someone you loved too. I'm sorry.
No, not lost. When I took on these robes, I found his memory.
I'll do what I can to help those in mourning.
To honor their memories is to honor us all.
I really like this guy. Piece of shit.
I thought I told you.
I'm here to present trophies to the Sunhawk.
Helped you with this.
I brought these down myself. Will you accept them?
Fine. Yes. I accept them. But tell Talana she should stop playing with sludge if she wants to get red mark.
Ooh, this is a lot. Alright. Legendary Hunts of the Lodge. In the summer of the 4th year of the reign of the Sun King Marzid, did Farukawa's Sunhawk of the Lodge behold a herd of grazers so vast that he filled entire the vale below the far back. Okay. His bow was a harp that day, strumming the melody of the hunt from noon to twilight. After, one could not walk a single step across the glen without tripping on an antler of the fallen. It took all 7 hawks and all 7 thrushes to gather the trophies, and with the bounty from their barter the last wing of the lodge was raised. In the winter of the 7th year of the reign of the Sun King Hivas, did Darusiv, augurs from Sandwhisper Valley, to the foothills of the Pellereach. Bombs from his sling fell as hailstones, freezing his prey and the waters of the ford. While the others stood as statues in ice, Hivas sat upon the largest, driving his spear between its plates and taking his trophy before the rest could even stir. In the spring of the third year of the reign of the Sun King Jiran, as the machines of the wilds grew ever more deranged, did Kuvam, Hawk of the Lodge, answer the call from the prefect at Day Tower to slay the mysterious creature who ripped his best cohort limb from limb. 4 days and 4 nights he tracked his quarry through the savage beast before the brute was revealed, strong as a snapjaw, fast as a strider. From twilight to midnight the battle raged, but Kuvan prevailed at great cost. His left arm chewed ragged at the joint. Thus he named the beast Sawtooth as he took his trophy from its shattered remains. In the autumn of the 8th year of the reign of the Sun King Jiran, as the machines of the wilds grew ever more deranged, did Galadid, Hawk of the Lodge, follow the shimmering death haunting the southern freeholds into the jungles of the Jewel. Under that tangled canopy, the hunter became the hunted, glimpsing in the shadows more of the eerie lights, till he was surrounded by machines he named stalkers. Long was his flight through the undergrowth to the safety of the Allied, but along the way he turned his bow to his pursuers. Oh God, and became the first to snare a trophy from that which walks in glinting shadow. 13th year of the reign of the Sun King Jiran, as the machines of the wilds grew ever more deranged. I don't know, I'm started laughing. I'm really tired. Did Assis, Walk of the Lodge, dare to tread the path of broken trees, following the wake of the terrible thing that laid waste to the freehold of morning light. And so he was the first to face the might of the Thunderjaw, greatest of machines that walked the earth. With spear, bomb, and arrow, brave Assis fought to no avail, and only triumphed by turning the Terror Zone cannons against it. The carcass of the beast now hangs in a lodge for all to see, so enshrined because its fall turned Hawk to Sunhawk. So this thing was killed by that bitch right there. What did I want? Well, I wanted to go down the stairs.
When I gave him my trophies, Assis said you should be spending more time finding Red Maw than helping me.
That bunghead isn't wrong. But there isn't time to find Red Maw right now. You're gonna help with something else.
Oh? And what might that be?
Meet me outside.
Ooh. I'm not interested in dating. With this one?
Shards. Will you help? We have nowhere else to turn.
Sometimes members receive an honorarium for the hunt. Assis should have accepted this one, but he refused. The price was too low.
How generous.
In the past, I would have gone with Takas to handle this. But what say you and I take it on? I'll meet you at Lone Light.
What about Red Maw?
Are you in or not?
All right. I'll meet you there as soon as I can.
I'll make sure El-Sadi makes it back to Lone Light. Meet you there? It's just northeast of here.
Yeah. Is it a Glenthal? Yeah. Where is she? Oh. Right here. I can't talk.
That
there.
seems to have taken care of them.
But more always come. The soldiers at Morning's Watch don't even bother to fight them anymore.
Seems like they're coming from upriver. I could track them back to the source, but if more come here...
I'll watch the village. You go ahead.
I thought you wanted to do this together.
You don't need me to hold your hand.
What a bitch. Like, just say that you don't want... that, you know...
The sun never fails.
Especially at night, right? Oh.
More Glen talks. There are snap maw carcasses everywhere.
There's what?
No wonder the Glinthawks were drawn here.
Okay.
Whoever did this must have left tracks from the blinds. Amateurs will leave easy tracks to follow. Those blinds up there concentrate fire on a target. Makes it impossible to fight back. It's a cheat, and a wasteful one too. These must be the Snapmaw hunters. I'm here on behalf of the nearby village. Seems your kill zone is creating a Glinthawk problem for them.
Yeah, well, they're not the only people with problems. If we don't get enough Snapmaw hearts to pay off a...
I don't follow.
I borrowed shards to buy seeds. The harvest went bust, and now they're coming for the debt. We could lose the farm, our home.
I'm sorry about that, but Glinthawks are attacking people because of what you're doing here.
Not my problem. None of us are leaving until I get what I came for.
None of us?
Who is that?
You didn't think it was just us two, did you? You already have one? Now that's impressive. All right, then.
There, the heart you need. Now what about your promise?
A deal's
What?
a deal. And now I can pay off my debt. We won't be back.
Good. Keep it that way.
Wow.
Aloy.
The game skipped the dialogue. Because I had the heart. Wow, okay.
Congratulations are in order. I wanted to make sure you could handle yourself.
You were watching the whole time?
Of course. Tarkus, may the sunlight is passing, taught me many things. First of which was, a hawk never abandons their thrush.
Wait. Are you saying...
I'd like to sponsor you for membership. What do you say to hunting machines, winning trophies, and unseating Assis?
I'm in. I'll meet you back at the lodge as soon as I'm able.
Which means right away. The reign of the Mad Sun King. Goodness me. Be warned, reader, that as a true account of the Mad Sun King Jiran's acts, these glyphs are blotted in blood. Truly, the savageries committed can barely be recounted, so pray to the cleansing sun for yourself and the teller of these tales. You will learn of the grievous wounds inflicted on foreign lands in the reaping of sacrifice, the Red Raids. For the Mad Sun King would order a whole generation cut from each village, so they might more willingly supply sacrifices and be harder pressed to field fighting men on the next raid. The Hutaru, who sought to appease with gifts of grain, were slaughtered in such number that upon the following harvest, the maize grew black and blue with the blood of the dead. Against the Oseram, the Terror of the Sun piled the corpses of their fallen up to the walls of their villages, so his kestrels might clamber upon the dead to enter. And in the valley of the barbarian Nora, terrors of the savage east, such savagery ensued that the trees were drooped with corpses hung as grim warnings. Should you wish to read of the Mad King's depredations against his own people, your curiosity will accounts of the deaths of those sentenced to the Sun Ring, listed in such detail you might think it reported by their own shattering skulls, once piled outside the city gates. Nor will you find a more harrowing account of his massacre of the Hunter's Lodge. Reading these accounts, you might imagine yourself among its brave hawks as they fought to the last, blooding the sand from dawn till dusk. Or perhaps in the crowds as or perhaps in the crowds as the loose behemoths careen through the stands with the crashing of wood and bone. All this crazed bloodletting did the Mad Sun King take in with his pitiless gaze. Indeed, he would not even look away from the goring of his own son in that ring of death. Yes, fair-haired Cataman Catamount of the Dawn's Rising, so degraded and doomed for the crime of standing against his father. Such a true and complete account of the Mad Sun King Jiran's miseries cannot be found in the history annals or heard from the reckoners of the Sun Priests. It is with a heavy heart that I scribe these events, leaving out no shocking detail, but my debt is to history and to you, brave reader. How does he know I'm a brave? Well, I'm a seeker now.
Talana, always a pleasure. I see you've brought your pet.
Greetings, Sunhawk. I hereby sponsor Aloy of Venora for membership in the Hunter's Lodge.
No. Look at her. She's lowborn, a savage. This is beneath even you, Talana.
She has fulfilled the requirements, and Sun King Avad decreed the lodge should be open to all. Would you like to take it up with him?
The word of the Sun King is indeed law. Even though it would bring ruin to the lodge, so be it. Do you, Aloy of Venora, pledge to act rightly and nobly when in service to the lodge all the days to follow?
I do.
Members of the lodge, even though Tarkus is barely cold, I present to you Aloy of Venora. Member and Thrush, what say you all?
To the hunt!
Sponsoring an outlander. I'll be finding Red Maw.
Ah, so she's the only one who likes me.
This is a good day.
What's Redmaw?
Few have seen it. A thunderjaw marked by years of battle. Some say it still bears the marks of over a dozen hunters on its flank. How many it has trampled along the way, we may never know. When members go hunting and never return, we often blame Redmaw. But to me, it's more than legend. It's the only machine that will unseat Assis. My sponsor nearly had it, but he didn't make it.
I'm sorry.
Tarkus sponsored me out of loyalty to my family. He was my last link to them, besides the lodge itself. I have to unseat Assis.
Let's go.
I know why I hate Assis. Why do you?
My family has always boasted members in the lodge. My father and brother were both Hawks. Assis let their sacrifice be forgotten.
What sacrifice?
They died in a massacre. They should be honored as Hawks. Instead, Assis will not let anyone mention it.
What massacre?
How did your family come to be members of the lodge?
Karja noble houses have sent sons to the lodge for generations. Because they needed another place to lord over the commoners. I want to change that. The idea that someone is worthy or not by virtue of birth. They have me pegged as soon as they hear Talana Khan Padish. I hate that.
I understand. My whole life I lived as an outcast from Lenora. They would have been the first to say I wasn't one of them. Yet as soon as I leave the sacred lands, everyone calls me Aloy of the Nora. It should be Aloy despite the Nora.
I didn't know. I'll remember that.
Thank you.
What happened in the massacre?
King Jiran's paranoia knew no bounds. He sent thousands of innocents to die in the Sun Ring. When the Hawks of the Lodge called for him to stop the slaughter, he threw them in the ring too. Yet when the machines attacked the condemned, more Hawks leapt into the ring to defend them. And my father and brother were among them.
I'm so sorry. What happened to the men in the Sun Ring?
They died fighting. If you wish to hear the story, Legan can tell it better. He saw it with his own eyes. I did not. The morning of the massacre, my father told me to meet him outside the city. He told me they were planning an escape. I waited for hours until a message came from my father. I had to leave the city. So I fled when I should have fought by his side.
He didn't want you to die with them.
Nor would he want their names forgotten. Especially by the man who benefited most from their deaths, Assis. Now that you're a Thrush, you should improve your and a Stormbird.
You want me
Let's
to go trophy hunting?
You're not just any Thrush. You're mine. And you better make me look good.
But what about Redmaw?
I will find him. And when I do, I expect you to be there.
Okay.
Wonderful.
2 new thrushes in one day. Makes a hawk proud. Tips.
Huh.
Do you know where Redmaw is?
I do not. Rumor of it spreads quickly within the lodge. As soon as it is spotted, it disappears again.
Can you tell me what happened during the massacre?
A terrible time. King Jiran purged loyal subjects and traitors alike throughout the Sundom. He even called out members of our lodge.
Why?
Some spoke out against the killing. And when the soldiers came for them, we all objected. For that crime, those who were not arrested were forced to watch our comrades murdered in the Sun Ring. I shouldn't say more.
Please, tell me what happened that day in the Sun Ring.
Normally, victims of the Sun Ring fell within minutes as the crowd cheered their deaths. But not with our hawks. They stood alone against wave after wave of machines. Hours passed, the men taking turns fighting as the others rested. The crowd's mood turned, rallying around our men. Some of them left, their bloodlust unsated. We members stayed and watched till nightfall.
What happened in the Sun Ring at nightfall?
The sun had set, and only firelight and the glow from the machines lit the ring. It was then the court released a behemoth. Several hawks at once jumped into the ring to fight alongside the condemned. They had snuck in their weapons.
Battle in the Sun Ring come to an end.
Talana's father climbed atop a behemoth and with one well-placed spear destroyed it, just as a second knocked him to his death. Her brother and the others fought this second behemoth, falling, one as they put themselves between the beast and the stands. And so we and the spectators were saved. Those who had once cheered for their deaths thanked the dying men for their very lives.
What a brave end. And how terrible that no one speaks of it.
I must say I'm surprised by your achievements. Bringing in a stalker already.
Save your surprise. I'm just getting started.
It's because it's on the easiest difficulty, man. I'm not wasting more time with fighting. And with this, the episode is over. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you soon.